What's going on, everybody? I know I missed a couple of days with the Merrick stories, but I'm sure everyone has heard. Uh, on Monday night, Merrick was uh, passed away in our home, and I'll share a little bit about that. So into greater detail about Merrick's issues over the past, we'll say, year, and then we'll tell a story. Um, so last June, when myself and another handler were on our way back from the Georgia Police K9 event, Um, we were like in Connecticut ish, and Merrick just started whining and sort of just like pacing in his kennel and just was super uncomfortable. So I was like, oh man, maybe he's got to go to the bathroom. Maybe he just needs to get out, stretch his legs. It was a long ride. So we get out at a rest stop, and I noticed that when he jumps out of the kennel, he yelps. I was like, oh, that's strange. So we've been struggling with feet problems our entire career. So I looked at his paws and I said, I didn't see anything. So he goes to the bathroom, whatever, and I go to give him his ball, and he goes to bite it, and he yelps, and I'm like, that's weird. And so then I notice like his ball's on the ground, and he can't get it. He had to like splay his front legs out to get his ball, and I was like, all right, that's a little weird. Like I don't get this. So we get home, I take him to the vet. They give him a bunch of pain meds and anti-inflammatories, and in about 2 weeks it goes away, and he's right back to normal, or so I thought. Then I started noticing he would fall down. Like we would be tracking. Everything else was fine. He could jump, run, do whatever, but he would be tracking and he would just like fall down. Kaboom. Oh, that's weird. Boom, he'd fall down. Track, track, track. Boom, fall down. Oh man, that's weird. And it started looking more like it was just like his left rear leg would literally just like not work, and he would drag it. And so we went to the vet, and the vet was like he should probably at least retire for patrol. So no more tracking, no more bite work, stuff like that. Something's going on with his spine. So we retired him, and we were hoping that like maybe not doing the hard stuff would bring a little bit more life back in, and it did for a little while. But he was still having to basically be on meds to be comfortable and to be able to eat and to drink. So, um, working with my vet, we got him on CBD oil, which was like literally a life changer for him for a little while. He wasn't on meds, you know, pain meds anymore. He was doing great. Um, and then stuff started coming back again. So we're like, all right, we need some X-rays. We need some scans. We need to figure out what exactly is going on. And his spine was fusing together, and it was causing a lot of inflammation and pressure on his spinal cord and the nerves in his rear end. And then around probably like mm, February ish, February, March ish, he got a dead tail. So his tail would no longer really come up. The end of it could still move, but like the part that was like close to where his spine connects to his tail, it was just dead. Like you could pick it up and it would just flop right back down. He got an infection in his rear feet because he was just dragging his feet all the time, and we could never really get it to heal. We would go on a 2 week sort of round of antibiotics, and it would clear up during that time, but give it a little bit of time, and it was right back. And it was because it was at a place where when he would walk, he would drag his feet, and it was just constant irritation and just was an ongoing infection. Um, and so that's sort of where we've been battling up with until right now. And then um, the first weekend in June, I went downstairs and to where his little man cave is. I was like, that's weird. There's blood everywhere, like little droplets of blood, like somebody was like cut from their finger and like dripping it on the ground. And I checked, like I was like, it's obviously dripping, so it's not his feet. So like I checked underneath his chin, I checked, everywhere, and I was like, man, I don't see any blood. So I did like a wound check and like rubbed my hands all down his back. Look, no blood. Each like armpit, shoulder, no blood. Did like his hip, groin area, and I had blood in my hand. And I was like, that's weird. Dogs upstairs started doing stuff, so they start barking. He starts barking, and not to be graphic or anything, it was literally like a squirt gun out of the end of his penis, and blood was just not urine. It wasn't like there was blood in his urine. This was just blood. It was just. I was like, all right. Called some vet friends. Ended up taking him to the emergency vet. When we got, and it was like it started progressing really fast, and like I had to help him up the stairs. He couldn't jump in the car. When we were at the vet's office to do the exam, I was having to hold him up. It was like his rear end just was the rear end was not talking to the front end, basically. And they did a prostate exam. He was like, one side of his prostate is quite a bit larger. You know, it could be a UTI. It could be this. They put him on another round of antibiotics. They put him on some other pain meds and some anti-inflammatory meds. That was on a Saturday. I went down Sunday, and he could not get up. His rear end was just basically toast. He was like dragging himself across the floor, and his rear legs, they were like dead almost. Like I could grab it and it would just flop back down to the ground. So I had to get a towel and do like the harness carry for him to even be able to like get up. So gave him his meds for the day. Was like, all right. They said it would take 48 hours or so for the meds to really kick in and start really taking care of the inflammation. So we did that. I gave him his meds, and by the end of the day, he was up and he was moving around. Not great. Was falling down a lot. Um, but he was up, right? And so this kept going. We ended up having a appointment with our regular vet and talking with our regular vet. Um, he was like, something's going on. He was like, something other than just the spine issue is happening. Like we don't was losing cognitive ability in his back feet. We would do the thing where you flip their feet over and a dog should put it back. You would flip it and it would be like super slow, right? And so there was obviously something going on. Um, but the consensus for everybody was, and actually one of the doctors was like, we were actually surprised he made it this far. Like we figured we hadn't seen him in a while, that he would probably been put to sleep before now. But the consensus was, yep, we can run all kinds of tests, we can do all of these things, but the end result is going to be the same. He's in a lot of pain, he's in a lot of discomfort, and he was starting to lose control of his bowel movements and his urine, to the point that like we flooded the vet's office and he was just standing there like it's like he didn't even know what was going on. He was just peeing, and he was starting to do this. I mean, all the time. I was every morning, every afternoon, every evening. I was having to literally like mop his area because he just would uncontrollably pee and poop everywhere. Um, so we reached out to a place called Peaceful Passages, who came to our home on Monday, and we put Merrick to sleep due to his medical issues. Uh, Sucky time. It was a very uh, yeah, it sucked. We'll leave it at that. But that's sort of the whole update of why we're here, and why on the 25th is going to be a memorial service for Merrick, and we hope to live stream that so that anybody that wants to attend and watch is more than welcome to do that. I've been flooded with messages and stories and condolences and everything you can imagine. Uh, and the reach that Merrick had, I didn't realize how deep it went. I could see the number on the screen, right? But I didn't. There's a lot of connections there. That's that part. Uh, Merrick story time. I know I said I was going to start back at the beginning, and I did. I told you guys about how when I brought him home and like our first track and all of that jazz. Um, this one though, this is a funny one. We'll start with this. This is a funny track or funny story prior to the track. But anyway, so one of the things that Merrick became known for uh, while working and while at training was if he was in odor on a track, guaranteed within the first 25 to 30 yards of that track, he was gonna drop a deuce. That was like it became such a reliable behavior change that I probably could have said in court there was no track because my dog didn't poop. Like if there was a track to be found and he was on it, it was clockwork. Within the first 25 to 30 yards of the track, he would poop, then pee. It was automatic. Like, I'm not joking to the point that I could have testified. That was, we've got um, trained response, and then we've got untrained response or a conditional response or an unconditional response, whatever, Um, his untrained behavior when he was going to track was to poop. And he also pooped again at the end of every track. But anyway, we get called out one night, and it's literally not that far from where I live. And we go and we show up, and everybody's talking, and they, in their mind, and in my mind as well, we're hyping this up like he had a pretty good lead time. And so we were like, this is going to take us a hot minute, right? Like, this could be a good track, you know? So I get Merrick out, and, I'm like, you ready to go to work? And he's, doing his thing. And we start tracking where they had last seen this guy. And I'm watching and I'm watching, I'm seeing all the behavior, I'm seeing everything, I'm seeing him go back and forth and back and forth. And then I see the butt curl, and I'm like, all right, cool. We're on it. We got a track. Like, he's pooping. Like, that's how confident I was. He went about 5 or 6 more feet and then started peeing, and I was like, all right, we're about to take off. Like, this is par for the course of any track. And Merrick turned around to start tracking again, and immediately, instant change of behavior. Leash went slack, and I saw the guy laying in the grass, probably 2 feet from where Merrick had just went to the bathroom. And then Merrick like indicated, started barking. Guy got taken into custody, and it was one of those times where it's like, all right, dude. Like, I wanted to look at Merrick and be like, next time, I know that you have to go to the bathroom before you track. But next time, maybe let's focus on if the bad guy is like right here. Let's not go to the bathroom, like on him. Like, you know, maybe do that. Then, but like, he was laying down next to a shed, and Merrick literally like peed on the side of the shed, turned around to track, and was like, "Guys, there he is!" And that's the type of dog he was, though. He I put in a post earlier. He was always ready to go to work, and he had some funny tendencies. He had some very weird tendencies, and we'll share some more later. But that's a little bit of that's Merrick's sort of what got us to this point in his passing and everything like that. And then also just a little story about how literally like clockwork, my dog would poop on tracks, and um, I hope Freya doesn't start that tradition because it's not it's not always the best in the world. But yeah, I'll try to keep these coming at least for a little while longer. Tell as many stories as I can. Keep the memory alive. I hope you guys are enjoying them. Like, comment, share, do all that jazz so that we can share the joy of Merrick's life with everyone.